System 3, Compound Actions. The Power of Accumulation. Chapter 7. The Mathematics of Success. The 1% Daily Effect. Imagine this. You've never done anything heroic. You haven't climbed Everest, won the lottery, or built a billion-dollar empire. But every single day, you became just 1% better, wiser, stronger, more efficient. Sounds impossible? Then let me show you a piece of math that changes everything. 1% daily, 37x growth in a year. Numbers don't lie. If you improve by just 1% every day, by the end of the year, you don't grow by 365%. You grow 37 times over. Here's the formula. 1.01, 365, 37.78. That's the power of compounding. When small, consistent efforts accumulate, fuse together, and eventually explode into massive results. Micro movement, rho mega result. The problem most people face isn't a lack of ability. It's the illusion that life only changes through big dramatic breakthroughs. They wait for Monday, for the perfect moment, for New Year's Day. But millionaires, they think differently. Not in terms of revolutions, but evolution. Not in leaps, but in steady progress. I started with just 10 minutes of reading a day. It felt like nothing. Laughable. But I did it daily. Then 15 minutes, then 30. 6 months later, I was reading over 40 books a year and gaining insights others search for their whole lives. Why the 1% rule works. 1, it doesn't trigger resistance. Your brain isn't afraid of 1%. It panics when you say starting Monday, everything changes. But 1 minute of focus, 1 new contact, or 1 email feels doable. 2, it builds a habit of action, not outcome. You stop obsessing over end results and start falling in love with the process. 3, it activates the most powerful force, momentum. Daily action creates a snowball effect. Every new day becomes easier to continue than to start over. How to use the 1% effect in life? 1% in thinking. Read 1 page of a new book each day, ask 1 deep question, write down 1 empowering belief you want to adopt. 1% in finances. Save 1% of your income, track 1 expense each day, take 1 small action to grow your income, an email, a call, an idea. 1% in self-discipline. Wake up 1 minute earlier, walk 100 steps more, drink 1 glass of pure water. My personal 1% formula. I created a personal mantra that changed my rhythm forever. Today I'll do just 1 thing, but better than I did yesterday. Sometimes it was a better conversation, other times a clearer no, and sometimes just an honest check-in with myself, but I did it every day. Conclusion, 1% a day isn't magic. It's a mindset. It's a way of looking at growth, not as a distant goal, but as a daily ritual. You stop asking, when is the breakthrough coming? Because you become the breakthrough, step by step. Success isn't 1 giant leap. It's you improving yourself by 1% each day. Why exponential growth beats big breakthroughs. Most of us carry a myth in our heads, the myth of the big moment. 1 genius breakthrough, 1 golden opportunity, 1 guitar strum like a rock star, and the whole world stands up and cheers. But in reality, success rarely looks like a fireworks show. More often, it's a quiet, patient flame that builds day after day. Millionaires know this. They don't wait for miracles. They build exponential curves. What is exponential growth? It's when your results don't just grow in a straight line. They accelerate over time. At first, your progress is barely noticeable. Then, boom, it shoots upward like a rocket. Why? Because you've been quietly stacking knowledge, reputation, experience, capital, skills, and eventually they start working for you. They become momentum, the illusion of the big break. When we look at successful people, we see their peak, their book on the bestseller list, their business in Forbes, their face on the magazine cover, but we don't see the thousands of days training, the hundreds of failures, the years without applause. Success isn't a big explosion. It's a series of tiny steps, repeated until the world finally notices. How millionaires think. They don't think in events. They think in exponentials. They have the patience not just to act, but to wait while their efforts mature. I remember launching a project. First 3 months, 0 profit. Month 6, first sale. Month 8, dozens of leads daily. Month 12, passive income stream. All because I didn't quit during the slow growth phase. The 80-20 rule plus exponential power. This combo is a secret weapon of the wealthy. 20% of your actions create 80% of your results. But if you repeat those 20% daily, the impact becomes exponential. Example, 20% of your clients bring in 80% of your revenue. Find them, then build a system that attracts more of them every single day. What should you compound? 1, knowledge. The more you read, the more your value skyrockets. 2, habits. They don't just shape your day, they shape your identity. 3, network. Every new connection can trigger a domino effect. 4, content, influence. Keep publishing, even when no one seems to notice. 5, mastery. Your skill becomes visible only after years of consistent reps. Why most people quit? Because exponential growth has a flat zone. That phase where you're doing the work but nothing seems to change. It's the land of doubt, frustration, and temptation to quit. But that's where leaders, visionaries, and millionaires millionaires are born. They know, you sow for a long time, but when growth comes, it comes fast and furious. Conclusion: exponential growth beats big breakthroughs because it's reliable, sustainable, and predictable. Success becomes not a stroke of luck, but a matter of time. Your job isn't to wait for the magic moment. It's to become the kind of person who creates it, step by step. Those who understand the power of the exponential will build empires. Those who ignore it will stay trapped in motivational Mondays. Formula: small actions rue big results. Sometimes we get so swept up in the scale of our dreams that we overlook the power of a single step, the power of one small action, one phone call, one sentence in a book, one no to a habit that holds us back. But as the lives of the most successful people prove, it's the small, consistent steps that create the most extraordinary outcomes. We've already talked about the 1% effect and why exponential growth beats dramatic breakthroughs. Now let me share with you a formula that didn't just change my mindset, it transformed my entire life. I call it small actions rue big results. Why are small actions so powerful? Because they're simple to do, nearly effortless, and yet they silently build massive momentum. Most importantly, they shape your identity as a winner. For example, if you wake up 30 minutes earlier every day, that's plus 15 hours a month. If you write just one page a day, that's 3 books in a year. If you connect with one new person a day, that's 300 plus contacts a year. Each of these actions seems laughably small, but together, they build a new reality. The formula behind the formula, how it works. 1. A foe to you at 1. A small action. It all starts with choosing something ultra simple. Example: 10 push-ups, 5 minutes of reading, or asking yourself, what will I do today to move closer to my goal? 2. Repetition. It's not the power of one time, it's the consistency that transforms you. By repeating, you program your brain. I'm the kind of person who does this. 3. Identity shift. Over time, the action becomes part of who you are. You're no longer just reading, you are a reader. Not just running, you are a runner. This changes your self-image at its core. 4. Compounding results. Eventually, the habit runs on autopilot, and then the results start to multiply exponentially. What gets in the way of small actions? 1. Underestimating their power. People think this is too small to matter, but they don't stop because it's hard. They stop because they doubt its value. 2. Waiting for a big start. We've been trained by Hollywood to expect flashy, dramatic beginnings, but real growth looks more like quiet daily consistency. 3. Wanting instant results. If something doesn't deliver immediate gratification, people quit. But those who focus not on today but on the long game always win. The power of tiny habits. Small, knee weak. A friend of mine started with just 3 minutes of meditation a day. 2 months later, he was handling stress that used to break him. Another began using a basic daily habit tracker. 6 months in, his self-discipline was unrecognizable. One more, he wrote 1 tweet a day with a useful insight. 6 months later, he had 10,000 followers and his first paid consulting gigs. Each of them told me, I didn't believe it would work. I just didn't stop. Which small action should you start today? It doesn't matter which one. What matters is that you start. Pick one. Something simple, something repeatable, something that resonates with you. Then become obsessed with repeating it. Conclusion: small actions are keys to big doors. They decide whether or not the opportunities you dream about ever open. Greatness doesn't start with greatness. It starts with small things, done consistently. Remember, one drop is nothing, but if it falls every day, it becomes a stream. A stream becomes a river, and a river becomes an ocean.